the SM Media Podcast Network. Hi folks, and welcome to the latest episode of the SM Media Horse Racing Show. I'm Scott McPike. It is a pleasure to be your host as always, and I feel that we're ending the busy spell of the kind of mixer of the jumps and the flat, but we're going to do one kind of last show talking about all the kind of big action before we kind of take a break for a few weeks. To join me as always, it is an absolute pleasure to be joined by from the Scottish Daily Mail, Callum McClurkin.
Hi, yeah, all good. In the midst of Punchestown into Guineas weekend now. Then after that, you'll have Chester trials for going into the Derby, really. So, and then the Royal Ascot wouldn't be that far away either. So, yeah, it's a time of the season where it really ramps up, and we do make that kind of transition between jumps and flat.
I think you might be the only person I have spoke to who's actually up for Punchestown after 2 days.
No, and comfortably as well. Yeah, no, I mean they get a few good kind of betting opportunities. You just need to play the prices and play the percentages around there. And yeah, 5 winners so far across the first 2 days. A lot of places 10, 12 to 1 plus as well. So yeah, it's got to keep chipping away at it and yeah, protect it rather than anything else.
Yeah, my pudding's been abysmal the first 2 days, but hopefully it turns on Thursday. You were at Ayr on Monday. Any takeaways from that? It looked a busy meeting and it was a warm day as well. And any kind of takeaways from that?
Yeah, the crowd was quite good. It's on Thursday night as well. Yeah, I mean, there was nothing earth-shattering there. You know, you're not going to get Royal Ascot material and things like that, but it's not to 60, and, you know, ordinary stuff for the grade, but these horses need races as well. Then I suppose Glasses Up winning the last to become the winning most horse there in the flat. It was a good achievement for Mike Smith, who's had some weight with a 50 to 1 win at Punchestown as well, which was quite incredible. And he's a trainer that is definitely on the up. So yeah, he's one to note. Jim Goldie won with Yasser. That's the type of horse that he's probably going to win 3 or 4 times around there. He's got one tonight, Braes of Doon, which is quite similar in that he's had a reappearance run within a week, and it's probably about 3 to 1, 11 to 4 mark, and he could probably beat some horses coming up from down south tonight in what looks one of the better kind of betting races. So yeah, it was quite a nice start there as well.
Let's go into... We'll start with actually some kind of flat action just before we kind of do Punchestown as a whole. Yesterday was Ascot Trials Day, where obviously Coltrane was beat in the Commonwealth Cup the Gold Cup trial by Yashin. There was a good word given by the trainer of Yashin before the race. Michael Bell had said that he would be quite good if he got off to a good start. He was pretty keen, but managed to kind of beat Coltrane. Don't think it was the best ride from Coltrane, but maybe something like maybe come on for it. I don't know. Anything kind of stopping Caprios from this, do you think?
No, it was a weak race, and Coltrane really was won it the last few times, but he's getting on a bit now, and he might have needed it. They didn't go overly quick either, which probably didn't play to his strength. So tactically, it might not have been the best ride in the world. Yeah, getting Yashin outside is won it quite well. Rated 103. It's well off Gold Cup standard. They've gone. The winning closing section was, I think, 116% wind speed, which suggests how close they are. It'd be interesting if they take in the Chester Cup or something like that, because he did have an entry. He'll get a £3 penalty if he takes his chance next week in that. And yeah, I mean, when you win a Cigar Stakes, and I mean the Gold Cup is worth considering. And you know, a horse like that, maybe the Melbourne Cup can be on the agenda later on this season. You know, he obviously likes quick ground. He's going through the ranks okay, but it was a weak enough race for what it is, with the favourite kind of probably past his best and underperforming.
I thought a really nice 2-year-old performance by Wise Approach. Coventry bound by the looks of it.
Could be. They've got one before that. He might be more Windsor Castle material than Coventry. He's definitely not short of boot. I mean, the 5 furlongs there, won by half a length, looked a bit more comfortable than it did. He was always in control of the race. Sardinian Warrior was pretty good.
Yeah.
Turning over Docklands. I can see those two taking their chance in the Queen Anne if they wanted to. Big Mojo likely to come down to 5 furlongs after winning the Commonwealth Cup trial, probably a King Charles III horse. And in a week's sprinting grade, he might not be without a chance here with the allowances that are going as a 3-year-old. So I mean, he's entitled to take his chance there. And Victory Queen was pretty good to win. I was a bit lucky. Gia didn't get the clean run, but Charlie Appleby's fillies are coming into form. It's a good sign for him because he's got the warm favourite, the 1,000 Guineas that did a good piece of work the week before. And at the last, My Cloud's probably a Royal Hunt Cup kind of type of horse if he gets in. Probably needs another run for Roger Varian, but he did it really well. Half brother to Palace Pier, who's a top miler and loved the straight mile at Ascot. So I can see that being the target for him. So yeah, there's plenty to glean out of it.
We'll go back to Tuesday at Punchestown. We'll start with what turned into a pretty bad day, probably one of the worst punting days I've had in the season. We'll start with the first Grade 1, the Champion Novices Hurdle. Kopek the board, well beaten. Wally Mullins obviously had Irancy, who won this pretty well, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, they both did their conkers in up front, didn't they, really, and set it up for Irancy. I mean, even if they get it wrong, I mean, Willie Mullins is invariably probably going to have the winner anyway. And this horse has been threatening to do something for quite some time. He's been off track. 7-year-olds, probably a bit long in the tooth for being a novice, but he was a no-show in the Supreme, probably a bit too much for him. Won a Fairy House Grade 2 to get back on track. He's taking confidence from that, and he just relaxed at the back and picked them off. And he always kind of looked the winner from 2-3 out. He'll probably go chasing next season, I'd imagine, and he could do quite well on that.
Probably Salvatore Mundy's probably one that would stay hurdling, I'd imagine.
Yeah, that's what he said, and he said that Kopek the board would probably go chasing as well.
Do you think it's just a bad run for Kopek the board? Like again, he's jumping. He jumped more like he did in the first run. You can excuse bad runs at this time of year.
Yeah, he's never been a fluent jumper. His engine tends to get him out of trouble, and it just didn't fire from the back of the second last. But he probably chased at a strong enough pace. Willie Mullins said that he was a bit burly in the paddock and he wasn't 100% fit. Usually you'd be over the top if you disappoint like that. He's kind of suggesting that he isn't fit enough, so maybe he's one that needs to take his race, and then he might well be, because there's a bit of Yasmin Devoe about him in terms of his technique isn't quite there. He probably needs to run, and I didn't think he needed to improve much, if at all, at Cheltenham from his Dublin Racing Festival effort. So maybe he's left a little bit too much on him. Salvador Mundy ran okay again into open Grade 1s. Whether he's champion hurdle material, I don't know, but I mean, he could keep improving with a waiting ride. Is Cheltenham his favourite course as well? Maybe the kind of undulations there don't quite suit him. A galloping flat track like Aintrie's probably been his best. And he might get 2.5 down the line, so maybe the Aintree hurdles next season is more of a kind of a realistic target for him. And yeah, I mean, Kopek the board, it was disappointing. He jumped out to his left a little bit. And I think he's one of those horses that will probably give fences a little bit more respect than hurdle, because he does kind of, he's still a bit clumsy with his technique, but the engine's quite good, but it just didn't fire for him at all on the day.
And Wally Mullins did win the next Grade 1 in the Champion Novices Chase with Danny Mullins. Danny Mullins has had some season winning Grade 1s. I think that was something like his 11th Grade 1 without being favourite or something. It's an unbelievable record he's got. I think Ballyburn jumped as well as he has, but I just think now the kind of bubble's busting his Grade 1 ability.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to go back to hurdles next season by the sounds of it, and go Steers hurdle route. He doesn't make any ground at his fences. His jumping is okay. It's safe. It's pretty pedestrian. It's not Grade 1 material, and he gets in close, and he's sluggish. He keeps losing lengths in the air to pretty much anything that takes him on. the thing was that he was such a superior novice hurdler that he was getting away with it, but others are catching up with him and improving past him.
Is it just a case that he's a very good novice hurdler who just doesn't?
He's a forward novice that's now been
Yeah,
caught up.
and we've seen that a lot, like Sir Gerhard, Envoy Allen to a degree. I know Envoy Allen won a lot of big races, but he never really kicked on to that kind of Gold Cup level. Like there's a track record for this.
Yeah, that's how it works. I mean, novices they're very forward horses, and they look at their own division. Then open company, others kind of struggle to maybe maintain their dominance, or others for novice company are just a bit slower learners and eventually get there. But yeah, he's one of them. He's done nothing that surpassed his novice form, and he's probably what he is now. 160 horse that's caught betwixt and between. He hasn't improved for the switch of fences, and he's ridden more positively. But I mean, to not beat Champ Kyler was still relatively disappointing, and his two main market rivals crashed out early doors, which probably makes the form look even worse. So there was no excuses for him. I was surprised that a lot of people were inclined to go back in again with him on the day. Did he go off about 11-8 or something?
11-8 went off, yeah. Champ Kyler was 20-21, and again, like he's one that you thought would just be kind of that typical, maybe kind of grade 2 horse, but he is capable of a good day in him.
Like, he's essentially had one horse to beat him, and it's fallen apart completely.
Yeah,
he's had one horse to beat, and it's a favourite that's misfired. If Perry Pass stays up, or Lecky Watson stays up, you'd like to think that they would have fought the finishing pool well clear. Still, a story ran below par. Ground was probably quick enough for him, but he does lack a gear or two. A lot of Gordon Elliott's have ran a little bit below par. It's the same with Henry de Bromhead and Gorgeous Tom. Chances at the end of the season. But yeah, Champ Kyler's coming kind of, he's nicked a kind of a grade 1, but he was third at Fairyhouse in Spindleberry, where he ran a little bit below par, and he's come out and done that. Spindleberry could be a very, very good horse. Who knows? But it's another kind of, like the novice hurdle before it. It's probably form to tread very carefully with.
What do you think of the champion chase? I'm not going to ask you if El Fabiolo would have won, because he did what he did. Marine Nationale, obviously, you gave a big shout out to. Marine Nationale has obviously I think solidified his case that it wasn't just a champion chase that fell into his lap. He did this very well, and he does make that he did nearly get into a bit of trouble, 3 out, and just managed to get into the right place and make some headway, and I thought run really well.
Well, I mean, what he found from the back of the last suggests to me that he would have definitely won anyway. And I was pretty confident anyway that he would have won the second last. He finds generously from the last, and he did that in the champion chase, which is a really good kind of attribute for him. And he's developing a very solid profile now, and the rest haven't. Champion chase records have a good record in this, backing up, and he's another one that came in, and I think he gets squeezed out coming around the bend a little bit, but Sean Flanagan didn't panic. I think he was always reasonably confident. El Fabiolo's crash out again. You're talking about Ballyburn eventually hurdles. I think he should be doing the same with this fella for his own sake rather than anything else. Captain Guinness ran okay, runner up. And Solness again, he was the tactical angle to take fact to file with, because he's going to. Everyone afterwards going, oh, why can he not just go out and make all? Well, he wasn't quick enough.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't quick enough to dictate things, and he was always in the back foot. Okay, he held up the early pace, but that used his petrol up far too soon. There was nothing left from a long way out. Okay, he's been beaten that far and that early on that there might be something more to it. He put up a big figure and big performance in the Ryanair, and maybe that's left a mark in itself, just the performance of it.
They did say there was an abrasion. There was an abrasion in his left foot. I'm just reading this here, left fourth fetlock, but he wasn't quick enough.
He's beaten from 3 out, wasn't he? Really, and he never looked happy at this trip. And I don't think you'll see them experiment with this again. And to be honest, he was backed into kind of odds on. There was of no interest for a horse like that. And Marine Nationale was too big in comparison, and he was the one ultimately to be on. And yeah, I mean, Barry Connell's trying to target 3 champion chases with him, which is quite cool. But he knows how to train him. He can pick him for spring, and I'd imagine it'd be a similar kind of campaign where he might not do much till February time. Really bit of promise in the DRF, and then come peak for the champion chase and Punchestown again. It really kind of the top of the 2 mile division. It really kind of maps out itself what he's going to do, and if he can get him round to peaking where he peaks this season into next season, then he's got every chance of retaining his title.
Yeah, it's a division next season that again probably revolves around will Sergino be back, and hopefully it does, because I do think on their best day Sergino would beat Marine Nationale, but it certainly gives us a wee bit of I don't think there's been a lot of depth in this division for a while. I think it has. You've seen a lot of odds on shots over the years, and yes, a lot of them haven't won, but it's not been a division that has been competitive. It's been quite hard.
Nothing's really competitive with how Willie
Yeah,
Mullins is operating in the divisions. They are light in the ground, but I think what you're kind of seeing here is a change in the guard moment. I mean, all your old Energamine get exposed, Ederson exposed, John Bond get turned over by a very young horse, and
mm-hmm.
and and Elliotty Tomp, and Marine Nationale is it's not relatively young, but he's in his pomp in eight or nine, and you're just going to get these 6, 7, 8-year-olds that are now going to take up the mantle. Caliph de Burley could be one that could come in as well. So yeah, you're just going to get. I just think it's kind of out with the old in with the new in this division right now, and Marine Nationale is now probably the one to beat.
It was a 5-timer for Willie Mullins on Wednesday, where we'll start with Yasmin Deveau. We'll do the grade ones first, then we'll just cover kind of other races. But Yasmin Deveau, very interesting campaign he's had this season, where looked as if he would never be a kind of champion novice hurdler. Was well beaten in the Lawless of Nations, and then's won an Albert Bartlett, and then won here. He didn't jump well, but he's a strong traveller. Lost his irons and made a howler of the last. But he's a horse with a lot of class and a big engine.
Yeah, his jumping's very indifferent, and when the speed could have cranked up, he actually bungled the last 3.
Yeah.
To be honest, and Jockey lost his irons, did incredibly well to hold off Honesty Policies. It was improving, and then they put a good distance between the right third as well. He won this in 2021 with Galloping the Shop. Now, I'm not saying he's going to get to that level, but if he jumps better over fences, there's more respect.
Fences, yeah.
He's got a serious engine. Well, it misfire for Copet de Board, and his jumping techniques is probably arguably a little bit worse than Copet de Board's. But the engine is there. He showed it by winning a champion bumper. He stays quite effectively, but he was generously travelling well in behind. He's not an off the bridle steer. He doesn't need bump along. Doesn't race behind the bridle. So he does have a touch of class about him, and he could take high rank. He's twice the price of your final demands and yellow clays in the world for Brown Advisory. That might be a big disparity now, because what looked at ordinary Albert Bartlett is working out okay in behind, and he won it in convincing style. The quicker, sharper track he handled fine. His jumping isn't great, but he's still winning Grade 1 races. And his raw ability is definitely there. And if he can transfer it, and he is learning, he's gradually improving. And yeah, he's got the heart to kind of still see it out when he wants to. I thought this was sneakily impressive. We know he handles Cheltenham. We know he likes Cheltenham a lot. He's won the bumper there. He's won the Bartlett there. If we find a race over fences, it has to be the Brown Advisory, you'd think. And if his jumping technique's better over fences for hurling, he's got a big shout in it. And 12-1 in comparison to the 6 is about the other 2 at the moment. It might be a shade too big.
Willie Mullins and Paul Townend have combined for the last 5 winners of this race, so it's a race that they target well. The bumper, obviously, the Grade 1 bumper was Bambino Fever, obviously backed up a Cheltenham effort. I text you after the race going, there's not a lot of pace in the bumper division this season, but the more you watch this back, she actually does this with a kind of nice turn of foot. I don't think the bumper division's good at all this year, but she's certainly the best of it.
Yeah, I think this was very good. But I mean, every bumper, every meaningful bumper I've seen, they've got an absolute crawl. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand why. What are they learning out of this?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, Copacabana, for instance. I mean, he's a 3 mile chaser in the making, and he's going out there dossing about 26, 27 mile an hour fractions. You know, is he going to quicken from that? No. What's he learning from that? You know, I think it's a waste of a year. A lot of these bumpers, I think, can be a waste of time. I mean, Bambino Fever won it well, and she has gear. She quickened from the outside at Cheltenham, and she quickened again, and quickened pretty dramatically as well, because the clock was kind of gradually going up to 30, and she hit 36. You know, within a matter of strides, really, and it was the 2 mares that pulled away and did quite well. The third Kilcannon wasn't seen to best effect, get shuffled back at a key point, but all of them were swinging away to the 2 furlong pole, and it became a pretty unsatisfactory dash. But she's unbeaten in 4, and she's a very, very good prospect for hurling, because she's sharp and quick, and if she has that jumping technique that is all about speed, then she's going to be a big, big player. And she might even be that bigger player that they might have to mull over the Supreme and the quicker horse than the new course if she's about all that pace. It's definitely an option, and she's very, very, very dangerous. I mean, it's a record. I mean, Willie Mills has now won that 13 times, and she was vast superior. Arguably, our turn of foot was on show more there than it was at Cheltenham, so that might have been more impressive. Because he's just kind of out sprinted them, but you know, in a truly run race might ask a different kind of question for.
Yeah, it was a very good performance, probably standout horse of the season from bumpers, and I'm interested to see what she'll do over hurdles. Let's get into the Punchestown Gold Cup, where I'm tipping my hat off to you. This was spectacular from Galloping Deschamps, and again, like you called it, odds against was a dream on the day, and he's back. He wasn't really gone, to be honest, based on what he's done here.
No, he never left. He never left. I mean, far too much was made out of his defeat at Cheltenham. You know, he's bumped into the right one, beat him. Bumped in a completely unexposed horse. It's not been off all season, and he came with one crack at him and did him. Okay, he was slightly below par and never fully happy, but it wasn't. It was by far. It wasn't by far the aberration that the market thought it was, and we're getting 64L in the week and even money about, you know, an absolute top class champion at the 11 grade 1 wins coming into this against a field that were nowhere near the
No.
standard of the horse that beat him. And, you know, he put them away in emphatic style, won by 22 lengths. As I thought, nobody would take him on up front, and, you know, he enjoyed it. He had one look at the path
Yes.
that was quite intriguing, that he thought he almost going to run out at one point. Paul Townend was quick to react to it. And he was fine. Spalancuri, he made a big mistake. The fourth last, it wouldn't have made a difference.
No.
He still gets second, and he still would have been second. He might have been a lot closer, but you know, he ran okay. Monty Starr, the yard again. You know, he's probably not up to this level. Maybe something like a Grand National
Maybe,
down
yeah.
the line might be kind of for him. He's a horse that needs more time.
Banbridge just hated it.
Joseph's horses
Just,
not running well.
yeah.
All these jumpers aren't running well. I think they kind of all had their fill at Christmas time, to be honest. So there was reasons to take all the 3 on and behind them. 12th grade 1, Punchestown didn't worry me in this kind of field. And he's now back to the 5-1 mark for the Gold Cup at a point in behind. I know the way you're thinking now. The thing is, you'd probably side with Galloping Deschamps at the moment, but if I know the way you're thinking has exactly the same campaign as the last season and shows nothing, then you're likely to get a bigger price for him, and that's when you go and kind of get him, because I can see him going out from maybe 4s to doubling the price after a team effort in Leopardstown or something like that, and the market overreacting, and then you can get involved. So I think if you like the defending champion, you'll get a bigger price probably around January, February time. And with Galloping Deschamps, you might get the same at in the John Durkin because he might bump into, well, Gaelic Warrior might go there. Fact to File probably go back there, and you usually get a bigger price about him. So if you like those two who are still comfortably superior to the rest of the field, they're 4 and 5 to 1 at the moment. Wait till Christmas at least.
Jen, they'll do the same as that though. Like they'll go again. They'll just because if you look back, obviously we weren't really taking into account. I know the way you're thinking as a Gold Cup contender, but they raced against all four. They raced against each other. The John Durkin, the Savills Chase, and then the Irish Gold Cup, and then Cheltenham Gold Cup. So they basically just raced against each other. And
well, it's a Gold Cup courses should
yeah,
be campaigns. So yeah, I mean that's. I mean, I wouldn't see them going differently. I mean, none of the King George isn't really suitable for either of them. Maybe more suitable to Galloping the Champ than it is, but he's just not going to go over there for that with his best horse. And Gaelic Warrior seems to be already mapped out long run for them for Willie Mullins. John Bond might go there as well for JP McManus. So yeah, I mean that's a long way out to kind of think like that. But I mean, it's not really the races; it's how they kind of run that will probably indicate the way you're thinking, going to show a little bit more this season than he did. I think he would have been on more people's Gold Cup radar if he wasn't taken out at the entry stage before being supplemented, because I think that blindsided a lot of people, because I thought, all right, that he's just going to be campaigning as a Grand National horse. That's why they've been quiet with him, to keep him fresh for the Grand National. But then they kind of went, no, he's going really well, we'll supplement him. And I don't think people caught on in time, because I think if they did, yeah, do think that, hindsight an easy thing, but he was a sole danger because he was that unexposed. We know what Banbridge is like. And, we knew everything there that wouldn't beat Galloping the Champ, and he was sent off as if he couldn't be beaten. But the late supplemented horse was the flying ointment that did him. And I think that probably because that's happened, that he's low the colours of Galloping the Champ. The winner probably didn't get the credit deserved, and you look at the second and you go, well, you're supposed to be unbeatable, you've probably ran below par. I really don't think that's the case. I think it's an exceptional winner's beating a very good second horse there that is exceptional, but he wasn't quite exceptional at his best at Cheltenham.
And the ground was a bit softer here as well. I think
they watered it more generously at Punchestown, which probably helped him. But I mean, it was a race he was always going to win, and in a season where there's not been a lot of outstanding betting opportunities in Grade 1s, that was certainly one of them.
Yep. Just other kind of horses for Punchestown. We mentioned obviously Mike Smith having a 50-1 winner. Cade Dorothy I thought was good. I think he will be a better horse over fences. And James de Burley finally won a race.
Yeah, he likes Punchestown. He runs admirably. I don't think he's kind of a. Watching races back, I don't really see him throwing them away.
He doesn't run badly, no.
No, he's quite consistent. I don't think he's kind of a. I can't remember what any of his reversals that he turned around and said, no, you really, really should have won that. I think he's just probably bumped into a few, and he's been rewarded for his consistency there. And Cade Dorothy, he's another kind of beaten horse from this Turners that's working out really, really well. I think this will do it. And that just looks brilliant form. And the clash between the Yellow Clay and Final Demand's going to be pretty good later down the week. So that was impressive. And there's quite a few British horses that are running well and winning these handicaps as well, which shows that it can be done if you take the chance and come over. You are kind of actually well treated towards the end of the season with good prize money. So a lot more should have a go.
We've got 2 Grade 1s today at Punchestown. We have one of your kind of favourite horses, Masborough, looking to redeem himself after Cheltenham. Should just get by. As long as he jumps, he should win this.
Yeah, he should, unless something goes untoward or that race has left a mark, because he did work hard to try and get back into it in third. I think he will make amends here. He's fairly comfortable, clearly. Rest might be a bit sharp for him around this track, but I don't think they'll go hold up tactics. I think they'll go out, bounce out, make all here, and be a lot more convincing about it. Utilise his jumping, which was good until he made a mistake, and then it kind of all fell apart from it. I don't think he liked kind of being restrained over 2 miles. I think he's more of a kind of a freewheeler. He'd probably go up and trip, definitely in some stage of his career, sooner rather than later. And being 5, still young, he's going to be learning a lot. So if he wins this, it's still 3 wins from 4 the season. a little blow at Cheltenham, but it's still a good season overall. Only by Night's a good season. Cracking second in the Arkle, keeps improving. It's whether Gavin Cromwell they haven't had a good time of things really post Cheltenham, to be honest. They might have had enough, and I'm a bit mindful of that again.
Mm-hmm.
Rubo was well held at Aintree. No, I think Brookie might be the forecast bet
for
Anthony Honeyball. I think he might.
Let's get into the 6 o'clock, and I actually have quite a strong opinion on this. I know Rob Core have held the kind of stranglehold over the Stairs Hurdle division. I actually think Rocky's Diamond could be one to improve here. I'm not mad keen on Tia Hooper and Hidden Valley Lake. And these conditions, I just think it's very, very tough to... Tia Hooper probably more, because I think Tia Hooper 15 to 8 is quite short. Hidden Valley Lake, I can understand if people are thinking the price, but I just think Rocky's Diamond's just a massive improver. And I think he's probably been kind of mapped out for this after Cheltenham.
Yeah, I mean, probably all have. I mean, he's had 5 runs this season. He's improved, good fourth on the Stairs Hurdle. And yeah, it's whether he can kind of resume it. He does look a kind of hardy steer.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if he'll be quick enough for this, maybe, if he tries to come from the back. Hidden Valley wouldn't be for me. I think it's too quick a turnaround. And I think they've got enough water on that T. Hooper could make amends, because I think 74. It's no gimme. He's getting caught up, but he still sets the standard generally. Gordon Elliott's, they aren't running entirely well, but honestly, Policy ran okay. Ran really well, actually. Probably one of his better horses. T. Hooper certainly is that. He reportedly wasn't working that well coming into Cheltenham. Still was second. Bumped into a really good ride, Bob Ollinger, from the back. He's not here. They were both comfortably the best still.
Yeah.
And I think he's one that could back that up and even maybe improve for it, because he has won around here. They slosh enough. They slosh 10 mils on all day. The times are 20-25 seconds out of standard. So I don't think the ground's going to be as much an issue as people think it is. Depends if it dries out a lot, but at the moment it's not. And I think there's probably enough water in here that he'll be okay. And I think it probably goes in again. But Rocky's Diamond is definitely in each way danger. So's Cramble if he gets it all together. Back right-handed. Fell on the Stairs Hurdle, but he won the long walk at Aintree, which is as similar as it gets to this. At Ascot, sorry. It's similar as it gets to this. Back right-handed. Quirky track. He has a bit of speed. Cheek pieces on that might help him sharpen up. And if that helps him get round in the jumping department, then I think he's probably the main danger. So I think he's the each-way threat for me.
Couple I like on Thursday. The column we'll probably about before this. I do think the other Mozzie is extremely well handicapped, back to hurdles mark, £19 below a chase mark. Won at Ayr obviously 2 weeks ago, 11-4. I think is a good bet. And my anti-post pick for the Supreme, Sar Fatal, runs in the last race, and I think he's probably him, and I think Bambino Fever's probably got the best bumper form, but I think this has been the best bumper performance of the season. Sar Fatal at Gowran Park, and I think he's probably going to win this.
Yeah, it doesn't look a lot to beat, but that wasn't deep ground, so that does ask a different question of him. But if he answers it, it'll be fine, and it's a race that he's won with Dysart Dino and Ballyburn 2 and 4 seasons ago, respectively. So it doesn't look like he's got a great deal to beat either. So I think that's interesting. I'd be against the other Mozzie in the opener. The yard form, the quick turnaround. I know he might be well in, but yeah, I mean, he's still going to be top weight, isn't he? Turn and finish of Harry Derham. Yard have a great record of the coming over here. Very successful. Strike rate is a danger to him. Cap West is another one for Harry Fry that's potentially dangerous as well. So I think there's a few that you could potentially take on with there. I thought No Means Captain B was interesting, but I see he's a non-runner in that. So I think the Derham horse at 8s isn't too bad. Mirazor West has been understandably well punted the 305, going back right-handed. Willie Mullins' horse, this is what he wants, and I would have him over Tully Hill at the top of the market anyway. Spinning Web's one that for Margaret Mullins that could run well as well. So I mean, the 2 JP horses there would be quite interesting. I think the Goffer and the Latouche Cup might
I
turn over
thought they
eventually.
probably,
It's not a race I like, but
no.
I think the golfer could be dangerous. There's money for Beat the Bat in the 415. I know this is a sharp track, but he was fourth in the Coral Cup. But he's never been one that's really screamed out that he wants this kind of trip. Happy to take the 1 and 2 from the Henderson Yard on here and the Pertomps. I mean, that yard are running a bit of a concern. He'll probably come on to later
It's
on.
only really the Mullins yard that are running well. Like,
Yeah, consistently as well. I mean, he doesn't really have much in the. I mean, Bill Joyce coming over. Flicker of Hope was maybe worth. I think there's a race in Ballybow as well off 128. I think that's a lenient mark, but in drying ground, it's probably against him here. So I thought the Nolan horse, Parker Kings, was actually probably the most interesting horse in that race at the top of the market that you can maybe rely on a little bit more. And the Mayor's Novice is 6.5. It's just Gavin Cromwell can't really buy a winner at 46. You're kind of a bit worried, but she's had a satisfactory break in an all-known form. Back to 2 miles and this decent ground is what she wants to utilise her jumping. It's not a great depth in behind. Caroline Bamboo wasn't great at Fairy House. Maybe didn't get home. Maybe went to 2 miles, but she wasn't trained with Willie Mullins. I think it'd be tough to back that up and come back. Tinky Shine's unbeaten, but again, the Henderson Yard, just hard to trust at the moment fully. And Mozzie's sister might be the danger for Declan Cooley at 10s each way. Bit to find, but she's hardly and trustworthy and can still improve. Beaten at Limerick by likes a Yellow Clay, the big Western Fine Demand, might want softer ground, but this is easier and this is more her grade against those types. So she could outrun her odds at 10s.
we'll go into Friday. We'll go to we'll touch on the Newmarket race quickly. We've got the Jockey Club Stakes at 4:05. Silver Knot looks to be kind of favourite here. Ambiente Friendly obviously was second in the Derby, third, second. Can't actually remember now.
Yeah, I think it was second.
Second. Obviously, Silver Knot looked good last time out in reappearance. Fancy here.
I quite like Ambiente Friendly. I think you could dictate it, and that's kind of an important thing. Yeah, I mean, Silver Knot usually runs quite well in reappearance one.
Maidan, he won, wasn't it?
Yeah, sometimes doesn't back it up. I mean, Maidan form does it fully translate? Sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, I think he's got a good chance of dictating the race, and horses that do dictate it tend to kind of prevail in it. It's going to be decent ground, which he should enjoy, and I think he'd probably make every yard. And yeah, I think he's got a good chance of turning over the Godolphin horse.
Okay, we'll go into Punchestown. We've got the Champion Novices Hurdle at 6:05. We are getting a rematch between Final Demand and Yellow Clay over 2.5. I think I prefer the Yellow Clay here than I did over 3 miles. I think this is probably better suited. I just think he'll have a bit more pace in Final Demand.
Yeah, and then he's at 64 over 74.
Yeah.
He's hardly consistent. It's just whether the trainers got him right for this. I mean, a lot of them are running below par. I think Final Demand's more likely to run his race. But I think if they all run to their best here, I think the Yellow Clay would win. That's the kind of dilemma you're presented with 64 against 74.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Yellow Clay's probably just about the percentage call on this. I think he might cope with this distance a little bit better than Final Demand and drying ground, and maybe get Gornelli a grade 1 here.
I wouldn't put MD off Queensberry Boy each way for Harry Derham. David Maxwell is on board, but I think he's been good in his 2 starts over hurdles, and I wouldn't rule him out at 20-21 each way. Into the big race, 6:40, the Boodles Champion Hurdle. Constitution Hill has been declared. Even money for Constitution Hill. State Man 13-8 for Willie Mullins. Champion Hurdle winner Golden Ace is in here at 9-1. Kyrgyz is in here at 12s. What do you think?
Well, you know, do you know what Constitution Hill are we going to get? Is he going to start jumping better? I'm equally as concerned about how the yard are running than he's jumping now, and he's shortening up all the time, and I think he's now becoming a no bet rather than a bet now at 10 to 11. State Man showed a lot more in the champion hurdle. Felt the last. It wasn't a kind of crashing into the hurdle fall, inexplicable like Constitution Hill. You know, he flicked the top bar and was just a bit too long at it. You know, he's won here before, you know, and he's getting out to 64, 13 to 8 territory where he's kind of becoming by default the bet. But they're both ropey enough, and I think they're both probably run handy as well. Stay out of trouble, and if you want to have a chicken out bet and just a token interest, Cargeese is a sleeper here. Won the county hurdle ridiculously easy. Could have easily went to any of these handicaps that Willie Mullins wanted to get the British trainers title. Subsequently after that, they've thrown her in here. She'll get £7. She's the youngest in the field. She's unexposed. She might be the best jumper in the field. Golden Ace picked up the pieces, but she's only rated £4 superior to Cargeese.
Is she definitely going here? Because she's also entered on Saturday.
Yeah, well, she's declared. So yeah, and Danny Mullins is on, and she's a 2-miler. That's why she's here. Yasmin de Grugy elsewhere, and she proved that, and she's coming in here fresher. She needed it to ask it when she got beat, turned over, take no chances. Who is a hardly honest race fit male. It has got limitations, but she keeps running third pretty much everywhere in good races. So it's not as bad form as you think. She won that easily. Won the county hurdle very, very easily. Up £7 for that is lenient. And the fact that they're flinging her in here is quite significant. She's got 2-mile pace, and she's a price where she can maybe be a kind of token bet here, you know. And State Man made the grade from county hurdle to win this. You know, Honeysuckle went through the grades to win this. You know, young horses could find their way in this all of a sudden. And she'll jump well, and there might be a pace collapse in front of her. So, and you know, both of these market leaders, they did fall the last day. You know, they are superior if they get round. There are doubts there. You know, the big doubts, particularly at those prices at the end of the season. So I think a token bet Cargeese around the 12 to 1 mark is perfectly fair, and I think she can beat Golden Ace in that regard. So yeah, I think Cargeese is the bet by default, but the bet.
Okay, I think I'm just going to leave it alone, and I don't know. There's so many doubts about Constitution Hill.
Again, it's price. It's all about price.
I think these hurdles will be better.
If we're talking 64, like we're getting the Galloping Deschamps, then I think you'd row in. You know what the downfall is here. It's his jumping.
I think these hurdles will be better for him, though. I think the last two hurdles have been the fact that he's not able to flick over them the way he would previously. I think these will allow him to do that.
Yeah, he might. And I do think he's had mixed messages from the jockey that bore them, you know, and I know that this is not by design.
Yeah,
you know, Nico de Boinville has been virtually sidelined, and I hope he recovers quite quickly. But I just think maybe in this instance that, you know, a change is going to do no harm here. So yeah, I mean, out the pair, and I do still believe that the engine is there for Constitution Hill. I do think he would beat State Man, but you know, the scar tissue is there for punters as much as connections when it comes to a betting heat of, well, can you really trust him? And his price is going. If he does goes back out, I think you just have to maybe put a ceiling on what prices.
I think there'll be a lot of money for him in a day.
Well, I think there already is. You know, I mean, 11 to 10, 10 to 11. You know, I mean, personally, I think 11 to 10 was my absolute limit on him. And I think State Man, my limit would be 2 to 1. They're now being priced as if it's a clear match and the rest have been forgotten about. So at the moment, I would back Cargeese. I'm just going to back wherever the prices go because it's served me quite well last 2 days. Fact to file in Marine National, that was too big a disparity. The Galloping Deschamps was completely ridiculous, really. with the price there. So I think you just want to spy the right price for the right horse at the right time, which is very, very difficult. But I mean, State Man goes 2-1. I think he becomes a bet. Constitution Hill goes kind of odds against. I think he's probably betting. If they both get over bet and everyone else is forgotten about, then I think Carglass is of interest. Right now, as the prices are, I would have a flyer in Carglass because I think she is open to plenty of progress. I don't think she's a bit part player in this. I think she could force her way into it. And if those two, Constitution Hill and State Man, do go forward as I expect, get out of trouble, and if they overdo it, we've seen it with Kopek in the board in Salvador Monday. Carglass is more than capable, if it gets tactical and they overdo it, to pick them off because she loved travelling behind strongly.
Okay. Just a wee bit of news coming out just as we're recording this. Bet365 could be up for sale for £9 billion. And Denise has obviously decided to celebrate that by boosting Masborough from 4 to 9 to even money.
Yeah, I don't care.
We'll go to Saturday. Punchestown, we've got brighter days ahead. We don't have prices on this yet. Brighter days ahead. Jade de Grugy. July Flower, I think, could be quite interesting here. I think it's a tough race. Probably Jade de Grugy and Brighter Days Ahead will probably be favourite. And July Flower could actually be quite forgotten about here. I don't think she ran terribly in the
The Guard are not running anything decent at the moment. That's the problem. I think you basically put a line through it because of the Yard alone. They're not running anywhere near the level that you'd expect. Post Cheltenham, really, with the odd horse at Aintree, Hidden Valley Lake won. Theatre Native won at Cheltenham. Apart from that, I think you could borderline ignore what's going on there. I also think she wants off the ground and maybe a trip at 3 miles. Brighter Days Ahead. This could be more suitable trip wise. Cheltenham's a disappointment. She was very tired, very legless up the hill. She needs to get over that. Jade de Grugy was a decent second to Lossiemouth, who's franked the form, and I think she could improve again potentially here. And I think with just trusting the Yard more at this stage of the season, Willie Mullins as well. I think Jade de Grugy might be the bet here at the moment. We'll wait and see what the final field is, but I think it is between the top two in the market, Jade de Grugy and Brighter Days Ahead. And again, are people going to row in with a reputation of Brighter Days Ahead, or Jade de Grugy's probably a bit more solid and reliable, even though she's got plenty to find on form. But I think Jade de Grugy might be the play.
We'll go into the final Grade 1, the champion 4-year-old hurdle. I would be very surprised if Alhambra doesn't reverse the form with Poneros, but we don't know how good Poneros is. I just think Alhambra will, and again, probably under a different jockey, will wait more, will kind of time his run a bit better, and I think he'll beat Poneros here. Yard
form concerning. I'm just worried about how they're running. I mean, we'll probably wait and see, but we'll take more of Constitution Hill, but he's 1 for 21 now, and they're all getting beat left, right, and centre at any price, really. And a few of them have run. I'm not seeing out the races again. He might not run. I think there's a decent chance that he won't. Particularly if Constitution Hill gets turned over for whatever reason, I'd be getting a bit antsy about running him, to be honest. I do think he's got an enormous future. All things being equal, I think he would win. If the Yard form isn't a concern, if he can defy that, I do think he can turn it around with Poneros. So with normal luck. Poneros could be anything, coming in here. And Murcia can't be forgotten about as well after an improved effort at Aintree and at the weights is a level with Float Alhambra if you have the £7 allowance in. So they're definitely the three to focus on. I imagine Paul Townend will have to ride the Triumph winner. Was that a fluke? Given the horses he beat, probably not, and by the trainer it is, probably not. Can he go in again? There's every chance he can. So yeah, it's another dilemma where the better horse is probably outside the Mullins camp, but going against Mullins at Punchestown is folly, because he's just a lot more to trust with him. Keeps his horses kind of, there's more consistency to them. Not a lot of them haven't cried enough at the end of the season, and you're getting that impression from the Elliott, de Bromhead, and Henderson yards and Cromwell yard that a lot of them are past their peak for this season. You're not getting that with the Mullins brigade to that extent. So that's an important thing to factor in as much as fall.
Anything else you like at Punchestown before we move on to the Guineas?
No, not particularly. No. The Mayor's Chase, I'd expect Dana Blue to win that quite comfortably, and 4-7 is arguably not too bad given what she's up against. It's the same type of horses, so I would expect her to take that out on the Friday, and yeah, the rest are kind of handicap fair. We were probably turning our attention to the Guineas by then, I would think.
Yes. Well, moving into Saturday, we'll go through the 2,000 Guineas first. We don't have confirmed declarations as of yet, but Field of Gold heads the market 7-4. John Gosling looking for his first winner in this race. 21 years, I think, since the last Craven winner went on to win the 2,000 Guineas. Twain is confirmed. I think they has confirmed that they won't be going.
Yeah,
Expanded and Ruling Court 6-1. You've got Shadow of Light, Scotland Champ, and 14-1 Bar. What do you think here? Is there a particular? Can I set a marker where you want to go at this point, or is it still too early?
I quite like the favourite.
Okay.
They want to see the draw, but I mean, I do think he won the Craven well. He was 85% fit. He's going to improve a bundle for it. He looked like a 2-year-old that would improve massively for 3. He seems to have already did that, and it was a performance that put him in amongst the top echelon, and it's one that he really wanted to build upon. Tactically, everything went his way. The winds were against him, and he needed cover. He got that, and he readily picked them off. So tactically, it went to plan. There's going to be plenty of pace on here anyway. There usually is, and I think the trainer's having a better season already than his last season. So is the jockey. He's riding a lot more confidence.
It'd be a huge win for him if he won this. I think it'd be huge for Kieran Schubert.
Yeah, I mean, it's always significant to win your first classic. It's real important, and he's looking more confident because he's riding better horses, and I think he's had his kind of season in the spotlight. Taking over from Frankie Dettori is a massive ass. It's a big job with big pressure, and a lot of people are looking at you. Don't think that the horses to do himself justice, although he did make the odd mistake and get called out for it, but he stuck by him, rightfully so. And he was very good at Royal Ascot and at Ascot in the Transday, where he looked really good in the saddle, low down, convincing when he ran down the favourite Docklands in that race by 3/4 of a length. So I was impressed with him in the finish there. So he could definitely handle it. So definitely not a negative. Ground, he wouldn't want extreme ground, but I think Saturday it should be reasonable enough. It should be pretty similar to what he done in the Craven, really. So yeah, I think he's solid, and I think he's hard to knock. Ruling Court's come for money.
I like him. I think
he's more of a Derby type, personally. And is he just shortening because Shadow of Light isn't working that well? That seems to be the general theme of it. He's working the house down. The market indicates that Buick's going to pick him. He's not without a chance.
Who'll ride the other one, do you think? Who'll ride Shadow of Light?
Good question.
Because you'd imagine it'd have been Doyle, but Doyle's obviously not there. Could it be O'Sheen?
Could be, maybe Pat Cosgrave, maybe, or something like that. they'll definitely, they won't be short of options at Godolphin.
Yeah.
Harry Davis is usually utilised quite often. So yeah, they'll have options there. Shadow Light, it probably wants softer ground than what he's going to get. Expanded, even for Ian O'Brien horse, it's having 2 runs coming into this. It should be difficult for him, but he ran massive the last day at Newmarket in behind Shadow of Light. But I thought the horse would take out that. It's sadly no longer here in Ancient Truth for the Guineas.
Yeah.
I thought that was. I get the impression that Godolphin's number 1 horse isn't here because I thought it would be Ancient Truth, and Tween would even the same or something because of the Lion of Winter's not here. So I don't think these powerhouse yards have got their number 1 in this. Shouldn't do. I feel the goal that I think is going to be incredibly hard to beat. I think Scotty Champ is interesting. Whether he's trained on or not, I haven't seen him 230 days. I'd imagine he would. Joseph seems fairly happy with him. I think he could run reasonably well. I think he's maybe the each way threat. Green Impact's solid, reliable. I'd be surprised if he was good enough. And the rest are much of a muchness. Wimbledon, Hawkeye might go. Harry Davis is joked up for that, so he won't be in the Godolphin horse. Maybe I mean, you could utilise like a Tom Marquand or something for a Guineas, if he's not getting a ride.
He seems to be joked up in Seagulls 11, for what I can see.
Yeah, they'll find somebody. Tornado Alert, Sylvester D'Souza on the side, Ben Sarur horse. So they'll find somebody with James Doyle sidelined. Wimbledon Hawkeye, big enough price in behind Field of Gold if he needed it, but I don't think that form's going to be reversed. Yeah, I think this is pretty much all about the favourite, personally.
I think Ruling Court, I think it's tough to. I do really like that Lion and Winter form for last season. Obviously, Wimbledon Hawkeye has run fairly well in second last time out. I just think Ruling Court could be interesting. I think Henri Matisse could be the interesting outsider if
French
he goes.
Guineas, I think. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. I would have went here with him than France, but I thought he could run well.
I don't fancy Camille Pizarro. I don't get
French Guineas as well.
Yeah, I don't, and it's not like Aidan O'Brien to just have. Well, he's got Serengeti as well, which is 200 to 1. I can see here. It's not like him to just have 2 in it, and as you say, I think their plans have been up
just
in the
expanded. I think now, yeah. Camille Pizarro and Henri Matisse seem to be going French Guineas. Henri Matisse would be interesting because they've had a run behind his belt. He did well to win it. It wasn't earth-shattering form, but he's mainly used this as a trial for Derby horses in the past. Really, when I run, and they've come in here that have been simply way too undercooked. Yeah, I think if Field of Gold keeps improving, then I think he'll win. I mean, Ruling Court, I think he's got a bit in a nice flow up in Dubai.
I think he's a real miler. I think the 3 in the.
I think he wants further personally, but I mean, he beat nothing in Dubai.
No,
I mean that's the kind of thing of he's kind of a wee bit of somebody back, he's forward, and he could run reasonably well. But I think his price is now going, and I'm happy to let him go. So I think the favourite's going to be very difficult to beat.
Okay. Right, we'll move into Sunday where we've got the 1,000 Guineas. Another kind of favourite that's getting a lot of hype. We'll go into that. Do you think that Desert Flower is a good thing?
I think she might be. And again, I think she's one that would probably go up and trip sooner rather than later. And it just depends how rattling fast this ground is for her, because she might not want it rattling quick. It's whether she's got the speed. But the way she won the Fillies Mile is devastating.
Yeah.
Charlie, I hope he can get them fit at home. His fillies have been running better than his colts recently as well. Godolphin have won this before, the trainer hasn't, but and yeah, she's more of a probably more of a stayer than the speedy Lake Victoria, but we know that she's had a setback and they're struggling to get her 100% fit for this.
I would have a bedtime story. I think that they definitely said she's going to Guineas, but I would have tough for this.
French Guineas.
Like,
I believe she's going French Guineas now.
I think she's a right chance. if she went deep.
Yeah, I think she's potentially very, very good. Her form kind of went backwards at the tail end of the season. I think she probably just needed a bit of time. But yeah, France seems to be the plan from the last update there. So because Lake Victoria is going to make it, and she's probably more speed. Won the Breeders' Cup, a race that she was probably entitled to do so.
Yeah.
Did it quite well. Like Henry Matisse did, did it fairly well. It's probably not quite Guineas form though, and the setback would have to be a niggling doubt. So Desert Flower winning the Fillies Miles, fine. She we handles Newmarket incredibly well. Quick, really, really quick ground, which it might get to the stage at Sunday. It might be a slight niggle. And I do think there's more each way players in this race than there is in the 2000 Guineas. I know Duty First won that trial. I'd be a bit worried for a mile if she's going to see that out. Chantilly Lace has got a lot to find, but brief Beckett runners thrown in here aren't ignored, and that's why she'd be clipped into 20s, but it's short enough. And I thought two outsiders were the other also runs in the Fred Darrell. Hey Boo ran a massive race at a big price. Trained on. Jack Channon said that she needed it. I know she's only rated 101 here, but we've had big price shocks in this before, like Billiston Brook and a lot of big price runners hitting the frame in Guineas recently. She could be another at 66s because I think she could potentially reverse the form over a mile. Came at them late. Quicker ground's going to help. And the trainer reportedly says she's going to improve absolutely massively for it. And the yards run to percentage form is mirroring that thought process. Simmering's an interesting one as well at 40s. Didn't fire Doncaster. Newbury, loose ground was to blame. But she was very big in the paddock, needed it badly. Got good 2-year-old form in behind the principals. Within a length, 2 lengths here. Dylan Brown McMonagle is jocked up, which is always a positive. And yeah, I think they're two outsiders to really kind of to take note of because it could actually cut up come final declarations a little bit. But we'll see. I do think Desert Flower is going to be tough to beat. Red Letter as well as Unexposed was held in the last 2-year-old start, but she did look like the scope that would improve for 3. But Jill Eyes has had much success coming over here, and I think she might need this and might be more suited to a kind of coronation stakes at Royal Ascot rather than this.
So, can you give me the 2,000 and 1,000 Guineas winner, please?
It's going to be a boring double of Field of Gold and Desert Flower.
Okay. Anything else you like as well? Malka's obviously running in the Dahlia before the 1,000 Guineas on Sunday as well. We've also got the Pretty Polly Stakes. Anything kind of jumping out at you for Newmarket over the weekend?
Yeah, I think I'll Malka. I think Roger Varian's pretty happy with what she's done from 3 to 4. So I think she'll find. I think she'll be pretty difficult to beat in that race. So I think she's got a good chance. And yeah, that's probably about it. There's a lot of kind of good new horses coming out that will probably be Royal Ascot pointers down the line, and things like that. So yeah, there's a lot of depth in the meeting.
It's going to be a fantastic week moving forward. Hopefully, Callum will get some winners. Hopefully, I reverse my form. My form's been atrocious lately. Like I'm in Gordon Elliott, Henry de Bromhead camp, but hopefully we'll get there. Columns will be going out obviously with the 2 Punchestown days, and then obviously Saturday, Sunday for the Guineas as well. Feels like the end of a really busy time.
Yeah, it does. Slightly jump season, but then just going into the flat where it is non-stop. It is 24 hours a day, pretty much every day of the year, really racing. That's kind of a great thing, and it's a good thing for punters as well. There is always an opportunity the next day. So if you're in bad form, I've been in. Actually, it might as well just turned around really at start of Punchestown, to be honest. Bad form, there's always an opportunity down the line.
I will be in holiday for Chester, the Dante meeting and the lock-in, so obviously we'll do a show after that just to recap and we'll talk about the Guineas as well. Callum, thank you very much as always, mate. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks again. All the best.
We'll see you all soon. Thanks very much.